Like the font changes. Like
I don't like changing the
but I
font,
know.
man. So just come up with shorter titles. Yeah.
Well, this was
It's
appropriate.
appropriate.
Yeah. So stop it.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay. Did you start the thing?
I did. I started the thing. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
I'm Pat.
All right. I'm Jeffrey. Hi.
We are back.
Yeah.
The episode before Christmas.
Right.
I don't know if we're gonna make it to 200 this year because I won't be here this Sunday because I got to go eat fish.
Right.
Next Wednesday, yeah, we probably will. We'd actually have like a New Year's episode, New Year's Eve episode, unless you got big plans. You going to Vegas or anything?
No. I wouldn't go during a holiday or anything like that anyway.
Right. It doesn't fit your MO. Yeah.
No. No. I mean, not that there'd be anything wrong with it. It's just, that's when people go, and I'd rather go when it's, a little bit, cheaper.
Oh, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
You know how travel works, Patrick.
I do.
And the costs involved with it, so.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that, like, ticket prices were coming down, so... But I was already looking for stuff in March, so...
All right, what happens in March?
I go to the desert for my annual pilgrimage.
Oh, right.
So, unfortunately, the Southwest still flies direct from here, so which is what I was checking.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm of the opinion now that, I mean, I better be going to fucking France or something now if I want to connect. Because otherwise, I'm just not going.
It's either direct.
It's either direct
not
or it
happening.
doesn't happen. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee they fly directly to Las Vegas.
They do. Yeah.
But Southwest, you gotta be careful with. They passed a new policy this week.
On what?
So Southwest, if you tell them advance that you are a person of size, you get the second seat for free.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yes.
Huh. I wonder if they're doing that to make nice after the horrendous Christmas they had last year.
Yeah, what was I heard that they got whooped, but what did they do wrong?
So the thing with the hub and spoke system is that it works great until you have a huge snowstorm at the hub.
Yeah.
And so the thing with having a distributed system, if the entire country gets clobbered, your airline just fucked. So, and that's what happened last year. So
Yeah, but they weren't the only one that got beat up.
they got it the worst because they do most of their overnight planes out in, places that just don't have the facilities. So if you get hit with snow or something like that in the south, that airline goes down fast. So yeah, because, it's Georgia. We don't have de-icing machines here.
Why would we?
Why would we? Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit different. Whereas, like, okay, United, they're in Denver and Chicago, and the place is like, it's got a drive-through de-icer on it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a little different.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I know I hadn't seen that. So if you yourself are excess baggage,
That is correct.
You get a seat for free. Huh?
You do not have to buy the second seat.
What if a flight's booked? Well, they don't oversell their flights, so that's interesting.
Yeah, you have to let them know in advance. So I guess you have to go on
so
the
they just block
website.
it for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
So,
Well, they
and
block a seat for you.
I think that's great for everyone else, because the cool thing about that is, if you know it's like that and you know that Southwest does this for you, then that means that I can go book a United flight and know that
You're still gonna have fat people next to you, Jim.
I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to pull
I'm sorry.
the worst.
The denominator is just too large. So, and the common denominator amongst people who are of said persuasion and flying is typically price. And Southwest is not your cheapest option anymore. It hasn't been for a while.
No, that's what Spirit. That's
Spirit, Frontier, and then even like, so like the major flag carriers will also dip below their prices occasionally if you're flying on like a Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because the last time I was looking, actually, United was fairly competitive. So was Southwest. So I was like, ah. But I actually like their boarding system now that I've used it several
Oh,
times.
Southwest.
Yeah, it's great.
That's fine.
Maybe you just have to remember to check it 24 hours before. So, or you pay $4 and it does it for you.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
So
I don't know. Given my last trip and given how pleasant it was to, I think, I'm angling for those first class
you're a
seats.
first class guy now. Yeah.
I think I have to.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a larger plane, I'd tell you to go with business, in a heartbeat, because it's like, so if coach is a 1, business is like a 5, and first class is like a 6. So it's pretty close. So, but a lot of planes don't have that in the cabin anymore. Bigger ones do. But yeah, no, I haven't flown first class in a long, long time, but that's because like all the airlines that I've been flying like the last 10 years have eliminated first class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's if it's there, and I mean, a lot of times, I mean, if you see that there's just a price on it, they're like, you want to do this for $99, I'm like, hell yes.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like
Yeah.
way far out in advance. Oh hell yeah. So yeah.
Oh well, or even if it's they let you know a couple days out, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, of course I want to do this.
Yeah, no, that's nice if you can do it. Yeah.
That's 4 hours of my life, buddy.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha. No, what's been up with you, man?
Got all my grading done.
Oh,
I'm officially on
fantastic.
vacay right now.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I celebrated by rewatching all of Jack Reacher yesterday, because apparently there's new ones out. So
What, the TV show?
the TV one,
Oh, okay.
yeah, which is way better than the Tom Cruise one. So
I never saw. Yeah, maybe I did.
I saw the first one. I guess he did 2, and I was so unimpressed with the first one. Just because Tom Cruise doesn't really strike me as that much of a tough guy anymore.
I can't remember if I watched that or not. That may have been a rig movie.
It might
That
have
may have
been.
been something that was
It's
on.
it's like 10, 13 years old, man. So it's like it might even be before 2010. So, but yeah, no, Amazon came out with the one last year with this fucking brickhouse dude in it. And he's
Oh.
just great. He's great.
Okay.
So he's fun to watch, and it's well written. And I had watched I think I had watched most of them before, but I was like, I don't remember how this shit ends. And sure enough, I missed like 4 episodes. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's a nice little bonus,
it
honestly.
was a nice little bonus. And then there's 3 new ones, and so I was chewing through those a little bit today. Just to kind of like, I don't know, man. I mind YouTube down to bedrock, man. So I mean, I can't do any of the politics stuff right now because everybody's talking about the same fucking thing. So
What?
well, today was the Colorado.
Yeah, this one's different.
I don't think so, man. They're gonna shoot it down as soon as it comes across somebody's desk. So
I know, but
yeah, and so like
this is-
everybody's talking about it, and it's like this is strictly performative, and we all know that. The court knows that because they basically stayed their own ruling until the Supreme Court can actually turn around and rule on it. So it's basically like, well, we're gonna set it up like this, but if you want to knock it down, we're gonna leave it right here for you, buddy. So they know that the Supreme Court's gonna shoot it down. So, and then but yeah, it was like the world is coming to an end today. So apparently the Democrats are worse for democracy than Republicans are. I was like, yeah, it took you guys about 30 seconds to come up with that argument, didn't it? So yeah, I'm not buying it, man. The court's gonna shoot it down. So
then why do it?
huh?
Then why do it?
Well, that's an interesting question. I didn't go in to actually read the ruling, but my guess is that somebody in the lower court was forcing the issue. And so when you do that, the Supreme Court has to rule on it. So at least at the state level, but I didn't know, like, where did the original case originate from
I have
in the
no
state? Yeah, see, I didn't have enough background on it. And then I'm tired of these like fucking 15-second takes that people are giving me, and I'm like, this is my own state. I should probably go read it.
I should too. Well, look, man. This. Okay, let me. All right. All I can say here is yes, they probably know for sure that this is going to get knocked down at the Supreme Court. I know that there's been no conviction to merit this judgment that they've made, which. Again, that's the thing that seems unusual, but again, I'm not a lawyer on this, right?
No.
So, and I'm
Don't trust townies with legal advice.
well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I've evidently every function of social media is they're lousy with constitutional lawyers who evidently know the law
it's
inside
fucking
and out.
chock full of them. Yeah.
So yeah, I was like I couldn't stand the
Yeah, but school, you matriculate, you take the bar, and you go to Twitter.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's like that's your branch. It's what do you study? Twitter law.
Twitter law.
Yeah, it's watching the armchair experts come out was the part where I knew for me, I'm like, I better just kind of like duck out of this one and see what the experts have to say. Now, that being said, to me, what they put out, it looked like phony baloney. It's like, this is some old bullshit. And I think you probably agree with that. Anything that you know is going to get knocked down by the Supreme Court is some old bullshit. It's the reason that's why I was like, why would you do this? If there was any doubt about mobilizing Trump's base, you just fucking, you just tied the noose around your own neck. You basically proved to these people that everything that they've been afraid of, right, is coming true right now, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be on a state-by-state basis then.
No. It doesn't matter if it's on a state-by-state basis. A dude in Georgia is going to look at this and say, they're coming to knock this stuff down. This shit that we've been saying that is going to happen.
We've known for 6.5 years. So, ever since the Russiagate stuff. So,
but that's what I'm.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that like I see it in two lights here. Number one, it's a paper target. So I didn't want to go read it though because I didn't really care that much. I was just surprised by exactly how much of Twitter it took over today. Because it dropped like at 11 o'clock.
Sorry. Well, rightfully so.
You say rightfully so, but I would say that it's probably more so due to the fact that we don't get any news out of Gaza right now. Okay, because the Israelis are stomping it down pretty hard.
They sure are.
Yeah, they sure are. So, yeah, in fact, they're using sealant foam to actually...
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. That's raised the Titanic.
Right, exactly. So,
long balls, yeah.
And then on top of it, the ruling dropped at 9 o'clock last night? It wasn't even on the afternoon news yesterday. So it must have dropped later. And so it's like, oh, okay. So this is what you guys got. I'll get your panties in a knot about today. But then the other thing was... So, immediately, and I don't even know if this took, 2 hours this morning, the entire, the Colorado GOP basically said, okay, well, fuck that. We'll caucus.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And it was like, wait a minute, you can do that? It was like, why? Yeah,
that exactly. I didn't know. I didn't
know that either. And so that's why I was like, well, obviously there's things going on here that I don't know anything about. So, okay, I'm going to go watch Check.
That was interesting. I was like, wait a second, it's that easy? I guess that was the thing for me was looking at this to say, all right, there are still aspects to this that I wouldn't have thought of. And it makes me wonder if there's sort of a shakeup in the electoral process that's coming in terms of people looking at this kind of bullshit and saying all right, well, if this is something that's on the ballot for people, then what do we do, right? So I got it. To me, it's a demonstrable slap. It really is. As far as I'm concerned,
it may be, but
it's disgraceful.
I see it more like Quint's trying to stab the shark. So, I mean, it's got him in his mouth. He's going to die. So, Brody already let him go. And so he's got that knife. We don't know where he got it because he didn't it wasn't there in the previous frame. But he found this knife and he's actually going to fight off the shark. He's like, actually, no, you're just going to die.
No, but it really is. It's a symbolic gesture that I find abhorrent. I mean, it's.
If that's indeed what it is. So, I mean, and I'll agree with you on that one. I just haven't read the thing. I don't know what the basis for the entire thing is. I don't know why it actually got out of district court. I don't know these things.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, but yeah.
So, I mean, now we know here in Colorado our Supreme Court is a little bit of the liberal bent.
Yeah, it turns out they all are.
I thought 3 of them were appointed by what was the guy before?
So it turns out that
Well, yeah. So we've had what Hickenlooper, and we've had Jared Polis, and then before him, we had a Republican before him, before Hickenlooper, didn't we?
who would it be?
Was it Bill Owens?
Governor. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that
I
sounds
think
right.
so,
But I
yeah.
mean, this is so. I mean, they broke it down. They said like, all right, so here's the 7. Here are the 4 that voted for it. These
Do we have 9 or do we have 6?
we have 7.
We have 7. Okay.
Yeah, we have 7, and so it was a 4-3 vote, and
Oh
the
yeah. Okay.
4 that voted for it are all Ivy Leaguers, and the other 3.
I'd be surprised if not all of them were Ivy Leaguers.
The
Really?
other 3 are state schoolies,
Really?
and they're the ones that voted against it.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, who was appointed by who though? That'd be an interesting question to sort out. So.
there was a connection. There was a connection to it, but again, I'm not going that far into it because that's a little bit too far on the conspiratorial side for me to say that because of this, this is this. But
Oh, well, as soon as the Supreme Court will shoot it down, then people will make that argument because Trump's got 3 people that he appointed on the court, and so they'll be like, "Arr," even though like I think he's in real danger with a couple of some people there, so you know, especially with the well, not with this one, but you know, if the documents ever get to the Supreme Court, then he might be in trouble there because he's got 2 originalists who are like, "What does the law say? Look up the book."
yeah, there is that. But on this one,
actually,
I mean,
one of those dudes, Neil Gorsuch, he came from the Colorado Supreme Court.
did he?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Trump pulled him off the Colorado Supreme Court, and he's like, he's the. I don't know if there's something right of libertarian, but he would be it. So
What would be right of libertarian?
I don't know,
It would
man.
be- what do you believe in if you're right of libertarian?
I don't. He's kind of like a drown it in the bathtub kind of guy. So
Drown it in the bathtub.
well, remember the old Grover Norquist argument? We're going to starve the government in the bathtub, you know, kind of thing. This was George W. Bush stuff. So back in the day, before he said, "Oh, you know what, Medicare Part D, get me reelected. Let's spend more money."
Okay.
I don't know. So,
Yeah, the only thing that I could say that is to the right of libertarian would be like straight up libertine, which would be terrifying because that puts you in the realm of the fucking Marquis de Sade. And
he might be there. Yeah.
where you like at that point, like moral objectivism comes completely into play, and the rights of others is basically it's not protected in terms it's basically like your rights are all that matter. Trampling on the rights of others is part of the process.
Oh, okay. I don't think he's there.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think
That's going like way too far. You have to swerve really far to get onto that level.
Yeah, you do.
And that doesn't seem like Supreme Court material.
No. But I mean,
yeah.
like the Democrats are gonna. I mean, well, it depends on what part of the Democrat, because you can't really refer to them all as a group anymore, man. So, it doesn't really work, man. But so there's a certain wing of the Democratic Party that's probably shitting itself with Joe Biden's poll numbers right now because it means that Donald Trump will probably get 2 more Supreme Court positions.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, I can see them. You know, okay, that knife wasn't in the previous frame.
Yeah.
We got do everything we got.
Yeah.
Not realizing that if they actually murder off Donald Trump, they basically guarantee a Joe Biden loss because all 3 people behind Donald Trump are better than he is. They're very much more palatable by soccer moms who always determine elections.
I agree. Yeah.
And so Joe Biden will get beat badly, and Republican 2.0 will get 2 Supreme Court picks as well. So I don't know what you do. What do you do? There's got to be like a maneuver in chess where you done fucked up bad enough where you gave the other side a checkmate and you didn't realize it. And it's just you just have to wait for the other guy to realize it.
What you do,
I don't know what that is. There's probably a name for that.
I don't know if there's a specific
like the
term for
Stroganoff
it.
move or
It's
something.
it's
I don't know.
I don't know if it's like a pasta dish. It's that thing where you're out of think about it this way, okay? Think about because okay, you can't move into check, right? You can't put yourself in check.
No,
Right.
yeah, you can't
But
do that.
there also comes a point where you only have one move left, right? And
yeah.
if you do, you won't put yourself into check,
But you will be next round.
but they will put you into
Correct.
checkmate,
Yes.
right, the next round. So what you're doing is you're kind of like, you've got your fingers on that piece and just keep moving it back and forth in the one spot that it can go. And you're waiting for the other person to get bored and say, are you going to do this? Are you?
This is why they have the timer. So, yeah, no, it's becoming a little bit more clear now. A lot of things can happen, so I get it, but
Yeah, but that's the thing is if Donald Trump basically, like you said, like if he gets ousted right now, right, for something, if they manage to get something to stick or something comes out of the closet that's, you know, just absolutely disgusting or whatever,
it's possible, yeah.
right? Then look, there's a swath of people behind him that, like you said, they'll pick up the pieces right away because there's only one guy who's really broke ranks with him, and it'll be up to those guys to sort it out. But that's how most elections go, right? Where you know you have a field and yeah, so I mean they don't have that much to worry about. This kind of stunting right here, it's not something that's gonna end up in their favor, in the Democrats' favor. It's like,
No.
why the fuck would you do this? Why
Yeah.
would you in a state that's guaranteed to give their electoral votes to Joe Biden anyway?
Yeah, pretty
right?
much.
Why the fuck would you do this stunt here? Especially, because now California's playing that game. We're like, oh, I wonder if there's a way we can do this. All right, well, yeah,
Okay,
those
but
were
still, it's
going yours
pure
anyway, but
victory,
still,
yeah.
it's again, all you're doing is basically radicalizing. You're getting people off the couch that wouldn't have voted before because at this point they're now like, fuck, they're coming for us.
I mean, really? Do you think there are people still on the sidelines about this? I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
I do.
Okay.
I do. Basically, like,
I mean, I haven't met too many people who are willing to change their mind on Donald Trump. I really
well,
haven't.
no.
Yeah.
In terms of like, they're kind of cemented, but they wouldn't waste their time voting.
Oh,
Right. This is what I'm talking about. They're getting people off the couch that are like, fuck these guys. But then again, if you see like an overreach like this, you're like, holy shit.
Oh, you mean coming off the couch in favor of Donald Trump?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, unless they put abortion shit on the ballot.
Never. I mean,
please,
you know,
please,
give them-
please do not snatch
give-
victory from the
yeah,
jaws
never,
of
never
defeat.
give them.
Or I mean, defeat from the jaws of
opportunity.
victory. Yeah.
We've kind of honestly, man. These people have sorted it out. Where it's like, look, it's at the state level. Let them figure it out. Like, don't. That's the best way to do things. That's what I argued it should have been, from the very beginning.
Well, we did that once.
Uh,
Then two states decided to fight each other over whiskey. That did
Well.
happen, yeah. So maybe something between what we got now and that.
do what you gotta do. Man.
Do what you
It's
gotta do,
Fine,
man.
it's
Yeah.
fine. Just you remember, we all gotta be at work on Monday, so
Right, yeah,
wrap this thing
exactly.
up,
Yeah.
Take it outside. That to me, look, that one took the cycle for me for good reasons. That's something
Fair
that
enough.
is terrifying to me. Like, how the fuck do you guys make this judgment? Why would you do this? Why would you make such a statement right here that legitimizes the fears of people that it's
I don't know how
such a boneheaded move.
well, and that's to say that it's deliberate too. I don't know.
Well, it only takes one person to say, well, I haven't been convicted of anything.
Well,
So
apparently it
how could
took
we-
one more person than what they
Yeah.
got. Yeah. So, yeah, but again, I don't know the basis of the case and stuff. I mean, the whole insurrection clause is what everybody was pointing at. That is so thin that there's got to be a little bit more to it than that. So,
No, you're basically trying to force people to define the word insurrection.
Right. Um,
And frankly, I mean, the fact that number one,
does it even say insurrection? It says open rebellion, doesn't it?
I
I don't think it even says insurrection. Engaged in rebellion, I think is what it says.
I think it's something like that. But again, it's I think treason comes into it as well. I think it's
Treason?
yeah, treason. But
It's one of the federal crimes that can be punishable by death.
in wartime,
Huh?
in wartime,
Well, I think you can do it peacetime too. I don't know.
I thought treason was only punishable by death in wartime.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've read the whole thing. So
The treason death clause.
it's like 2 lines in the Constitution, which is no bigger than a decent-sized dinner menu with crayons. So it doesn't take that long to read. But apparently, if you read it enough in law school and don't pass the bar, you're an expert on Twitter.
Yeah, there's pieces where they say, well, this couldn't be clearer. It says it right here. It's like, all right, no, I gotcha. It's just now that I work with like legal shit, I see these people argue about this crap all the time. They argue like a small case and say, all right, well, they could take this from here, but they could take this from here. It's not necessarily a precedent, blah, 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 blah.
Sure,
blah.
yeah.
So it's not just like, well, they wrote the word militia here, ergo, that's what it means, and that's there's no further use talking about it because it says it right here, clear as crystal, black and white.
Yeah.
Well, no, it turns out that there's a lot of things that go into it. It's
Language does change. So
it does, but I mean when
we
you
didn't get the Cliff Notes version either, So like when they were just scratching things out on paper somewhere, we didn't get any of that.
no, that'd be great. That'd be great of like all those like pages of
Well, you got the Federalist Papers. I mean, but that's a guy.
right, but it's not like the notes where like Thomas Jefferson has wrote the word asshole or
Right, yeah.
whatever. And it's
Throwing little stick figure stabbing a guy,
it's just, you see somebody pitch something out where it's kind of like, well, how about farmers get 3 votes at every city vote?
Right,
And
yeah.
Jefferson writes fucking retarded. Oh, we'll take a vote on it. Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
all in favor.
Yeah.
Motion tabled.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
You
either.
weren't there.
Yeah, I was not there.
I don't.
Twitter wasn't there.
Oh yes, they were.
Oh, yes, they were.
Yes, they
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
Yes, they were.
So-
No, if you ask them, if you ask that section, all they did was, they talked about law and the country, like just in passing, but the rest of it was just kind of like, isn't it great to own people as property?
Not up here.
I hope they erect monuments to my likeness to say how much I liked owning people as property.
Oh, I did see that spat the other day where they were actually smelting statues of Robert E. Lee rather than preserving them.
Yeah.
And then a judge actually forced them to stop removing one in Arlington. I didn't know there was a fucking Confederate monument in Arlington.
I thought you told me that. I thought you told me that part of the condition of ending, the Civil War was this is going to be put in place. You're not going to be treated like pariahs.
Well, yeah, that was true. Okay, but Arlington was established. Arlington is Robert E. Lee's estate. It is his home. It was his ancestral home. So, well, I think it's specifically his wife's, but whatever.
Oh.
So, yeah. All right. And so when the war started, I don't think it was Lincoln. It might have been Stanton, his war secretary, was so pissed because they offered Robert E. Lee the command of the Union armies. And he said, no, I got to fight for Virginia, kind of thing. Like, motherfucker. And so it was right across the river. So it was the first thing they grabbed, and they turned it into the Union Cemetery. And they said, he is going to have every last drop of blood on his land. So, and that was kind of spiteful, but it was, I didn't know that they had actually buried Confederates there. So, okay. So my knowledge of the Civil War failed on that one, but whatever.
Just said it like one time, man. You're still batting like a lifetime
Pretty good,
947.
Yeah. You're right, yeah.
Jesus
and I got quite a
Christ,
few
man.
stolen bases too, man.
I mean, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, man. It's not. We're not gonna like have some like asterisk here where it's like, yeah, Pat should be in there, but that gambling problem.
That gambling
is,
problem. Yeah,
or,
exactly.
You know,
yeah. So he's got a mouth on
you
him.
know.
Man. Yeah.
Steroids. You're pretty accurate on that. But yeah,
They were vitamins.
my doctor said.
Yeah, these are This is a vitamin cocktail.
Right. Right. He said, I need like 5 different looking Centrums because I'm a growing boy and I
Right.
play sports.
Right. Those are the size of horse pills. Yeah. This one's a suppository.
I play sports.
Yeah.
I sweat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that one. I don't know what else I saw though. There were a couple of like little things going on. So yeah, apparently there's an argument going about whether or not we should bomb the shit out of Yemen.
What did they do now?
They've been fighting. They've been lobbing missiles at tankers in the Red Sea.
Oh,
Just being
these
jerks.
assholes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
here's something that well, okay, so the other thing that's taking up a lot of space, of course, is the border.
that is true. I've seen a lot more stories on the border lately.
Yeah.
Actually, it bled over into my railroad news. So yeah, there's a couple guys who really know a lot of shit about trains that I follow, and so they've got a shitload. And so there's 2 major railroads that interface with Mexico. It's BNSF and then KCS, Kansas City Southern. And apparently, in one of the terminals in El Paso, they're full of cars, just tons and tons and tons of cars because there's so many migrants on the tracks they can't run the trains. So yeah.
Oh.
And so these are empties heading down towards Mexico, waiting for loads. So because Mexico's our biggest trading partner. Most people don't know that, but
Well, it does make sense. I mean, they're right there.
They're right there, yeah, and they produce really good stuff. And it's actually labor there is cheaper than it is in China, so which is another thing that most people don't know, but whatever. So, and the people on the border aren't Mexicans; they're all from like Guatemala and Venezuela and China.
People don't believe that one, but that
it's absolutely true. So it is 100% true, man. These are people who managed to jump the border in Vietnam, and have made their way all the way over the Pacific Ocean to Mexico.
Yeah, that's a big one right now, and it's sort of the tie-in goes with basically whether or not they use that to bootstrap Ukrainian aid.
What?
Well, so this is sort of the
oh, you mean Congress? Yeah. I don't know if that's going to work. So.
Well, here's something that was interesting about Ukraine.
I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah.
Well, this was something that was interesting to me about Ukraine the other day, right? So I saw a statistic where they said basically 87% of all draftable, so that includes like up to 60, where they said 87% of that had basically been used up.
Right? Or exempted.
Well, even that's still like
Ukraine's got a really fucked up sense of like if you enroll in community college, you're exempted. So yeah, it's crazy.
But this also included like people that fled, so basically they're not there.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it was like you only have like 13% left of this, right? And this was the thing I was thinking about here is like, all right, so they're asking for more money, and I get it. And you and I probably see, differently when it comes to like, well, no, just you're like not another dime, and you're like, fuck it, man, go ahead and do it. The tough thing for me is like, well, it looks like you guys are about out of gas, right?
Yeah,
you're out of manpower basically, and that's the problem here is if you are out of manpower and still want to fight this thing, right? Is this something where it's at this point is like, look, you can't win this, right? So we have to pull off so that you actually, it's sort of like a humanitarian gesture to stop supporting it.
So like, I don't know how much of the out of manpower argument I buy. So because it hasn't killed that many people. So
no, but it's chased off a lot, and
it's chased off quite a few.
Going to fight for you because they're gone.
Yeah, but just like at their population pyramid, So there's 2 fucked up things about it. Number one is, so they have what they call their draftable age, and it goes all the way from like 17 to, I think it is 60, or it might be 55.
I think it's 59.9.
Sure, yeah, just like your IRA. You pay the penalty up to this point.
Yeah.
59 and a half. So, you know, and so, but then they have all these weird whack exemption rules. So, like, you know, and the other, so they don't do stop loss with their own army. So, which is crazy. So, I mean, we even did that during Iraq. So, you know, so they sign up for 6 months, and you sign up for 6 months, your term is up, your contract's done, off you go, you're back home. And they can't make you go back. So, whereas like here in the United States, it was like, we got a war going on in Afghanistan. You want out next month? Nah, you're going to stick around for 2 more years because we can do that per the law. And that's when
they can recall you too.
They absolutely can. You're on ready reserve for at least 2 to 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. But Ukraine doesn't have any of those things. So... and it's, from what I understand, some of it's due to political reasons, some of it's just due to cultural stuff, where that's not the expectation. Yeah. So, you know, things like that.
Makes sense.
I guess. So,
well,
but I mean, if you're going to fight for your country, I mean, you fight until till it's done. So, especially if you've got invaders in your fucking country. So, I mean, that seems like a pretty straightforward thing.
But that's also part of the problem is there's a little bit of like a cultural mixture where it's like, well, they don't. Are these guys enemies or not? It's like, well, there's actually plenty of Russians over there in Ukraine and
parts of it.
Yeah.
There's other parts that will fight them till the fucking end, the very last man. So just about anything west of that river. So yeah, east, maybe not so much. Okay, so but I mean, how the fuck are you gonna find out anymore? I mean, the chance to do a referendum on that, a la World War I style, is long past. Yeah. So you know. There's far too many dead people on both sides for people to just bury the hatchet. So that's not going to happen.
And
I mean, you're talking about a generation that's basically been wrecked. So in both countries, So and Russia is even worse in some respects because they didn't pull people from their 2 major cities. So they didn't pull people from St. Petersburg or Moscow for purely political reasons. And so the people in the countryside are fucking furious. So
they should be.
They should be. Yeah.
Well, especially since the newest thing that Putin put in place was, I can now stay in power until 2030.
Yeah, I saw that. It's just Russian Calvin ball, man. We had an episode about that.
Fucking ridiculous.
Well, okay, he's just gonna stay there until he's dead, which probably won't be too terribly long. So
you never know. I mean. It's sometimes, you know,
it's not going to be 20 years. So,
well, that's not 20 years. It's
what
2030 is 6.
Yeah, I know. He's going to do it again.
If he's still alive. Yeah. I was going to say like miserable people find a way to live long lives, man. It's
possible. Who knows? You know, but still, at the same point in time, you're just going to have to see like. It's so much has changed since what we thought about war in 2021 that fundamentally, I mean, some of the arguments that used to hold a little bit more water probably don't hold as much water as they do before. But then on the flip side, the Russian army is much better now than it was 2 years ago. So it could feasibly actually give some of those other countries in the area a run for its money if we give it a breather. I don't know if they'd actually do that.
Possibly, but I mean, I would think the lesson to take. I think there's a lot of lessons to take from this in terms of like warfare.
It
is a miserable enterprise at this point in terms of what I imagine a lot of people that have very traditional values of combat are looking at this like a fucking mess. They're just kind of like.
Yeah, well, World War II style.
We should never do this again.
Well, they're going to. Well, actually, war is getting considerably cheaper if you take a look at something like this. So what? All right, call it 1 million casualties. All right, I don't know how they're distributed. There's so much argument about that it's not even funny. And it all depends on which side you're trying to root for in some respects. If you actually get like legit guys who go out there and count tanks, you know, that are burnt on satellite footage, that's a little bit better. So, but, you know, I mean, the war hasn't hit the point in time yet where there's 1 million bodies on the ground. So,
right.
Yeah. All right. So you have basically 2 Cold War era powers duking it out in full up, straight up, nose-to-nose fight. and you only have 1 million casualty, that's pretty amazing. So, and that speaks to the fact that, okay, so you have to disperse. There's no mass charges, even though people were saying that's what the Russians were doing. They were never doing that. So, because you don't have the manpower to do it.
I mean, I think they tried to do a version of it at a couple of points, but not.
They did it with some convicts and stuff like that, and they get slaughtered.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
And so
That's why I said they did a version of it, and it wasn't successful, so they stopped.
well, and the other thing is that, artillery fire is so accurate nowadays that all you need is a GoPro camera mounted on a fucking, like little spy drone, all right, that actually has GPS, which they all have GPS capability, or the Russian version of GPS, because we learned to jam them, and then they learned to jam us, and then everybody jams each other now, and so, so that's why Chinese would spend a lot of money putting up their own fucking satellite ring. So, but anyway, that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
So you don't mass, and so you don't get squadrons and platoons, or let alone like a battalion-sized unit on the same amount of real estate that you used to. It has to occupy 10 times as much real estate, because otherwise it just gets saturated. So this is the whole thing about artillery shells. That's why I don't have them a problem like fucking giving money to Lockheed Martin or Harris, okay? Because these guys make 155 millimeter shells here. So, and we give them the old ones that have expiration dates on it. It's fine. Go use them. All right. So we got to blow them up down in Pueblo anyway. So, but anyway. But the same thing's true with tanks. And so they were thinking mass columns and things like that would actually work. And they find out that it just absolutely attracts artillery like flies. I don't care what kind of Abrams depleted uranium armor you have on the roof of that thing. If you take a 155 millimeter shell or two through the roof, you're dead. Okay, that thing's not going to live through that. Or if it does, it's going to knock out every last piece of equipment in that that's useful. So, we're basically, maybe you can haul it back home, or maybe you just sit there until someone fishes you out. So, but then on top of that, they discovered this thing that we have known for many, many years. So, and they are much, much better at it than they used to be. So, in terms of like seeding minefields rapidly, because we had never been in a war. Nobody had ever been in a war. Okay, we had developed all these great weapons. So, like these 155 millimeter shells that are filled with like 40 or 50 little mines that are about the size of your cell phone.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so casing breaks up and it just scatters them. So hundreds of them, and so you got hundreds of the shells that do that. And so you can do this with anti-personnel mines. There's slightly larger ones that'll actually knock the track off a vehicle. They'll certainly blow a tire off something. And so you can just absolutely lay a fuckload of those. And guess what the Russians had? They had millions of them. And so there is a part of Ukraine that is permanent no-go, for decades now. So they got farmers out there that are using basically logs and John Deere tractors to try and drag this shit out. So they can get crops back in the ground, and then some of them are just giving up because they're like, "Hey, man, I have 2 sons left. I'm not going to send them out there, to fix the fields because it's fucking covered in landmines." So yeah, it's terrible. So, and of course the Ukrainians learned that too, and that's why their attack during the summer failed. That's why Russia's attack 2 weeks ago failed badly. So it's because they're learning the same lessons from each other. And so it's just going to stay where it's at until one side or the other decides, hey, let's talk this out. I don't think we can force the Ukrainians to do that. I think if we turned off the tap tomorrow, they'd be like, fuck off, America. We're going to do it ourselves. So, and you're no longer our friends, which would be a worse outcome. So, especially if they lose eventually, which they won't. But... and then on top of it, it means that the Germans and everybody else over there will step in. The Germans already said, hey, we're going to do our first deployment that we've done since World War II, which was hilarious. Their first overseas deployment since World War II. I was like, yeah, we remember all those really well. So, but the Germans have committed a lot of money because, like their economy is kind of shot on a lot of different things, man. So they've had trouble with gas and stuff like that. So like, what's their big gas company? It's not Siemens. It's you'd recognize it. Huge chemical manufacturers like IG Farben or something like that.
If you showed me it, I'd probably know, but I can't think of it right
Yeah,
offhand.
you'd be
It's
familiar.
yeah.
They're packing their entire operation in Germany up and shipping it to Louisiana. The whole fucking thing.
Jesus, why?
Gas. They can get natural
Okay.
gas there at less than cost. So they're moving the whole motherfucking thing here. Same thing. Everybody. Oh, this was another thing. Everybody was freaking out the other day because Japan, Nippon Steel, was going to buy U.S. Steel. So they're like, "Oh my God, yeah, this is this giant company in the United States." First of all, it's tiny. So
Yeah, it's small now. It doesn't
it's
have
very
the,
small.
Yeah, it doesn't have the oomph that it used to.
But second of all, why is Japan doing that?
Probably because they need steel. They
No,
no.
no, it's way too expensive to make it in Japan because they don't have gas.
Oh, it's just gas.
It's just
Oh,
gas.
okay.
Yeah.
I just thought they didn't really have a supply for it. I mean, like, it's just an island, man. It's not.
Yeah, it's pretty big though. It's the size of California, so that's like kind of the size of the West Coast.
Right, but I mean, in terms of, say, like if you're going to take that island and square off against the United States in 1942,
You
I mean,
lose.
You know,
Yeah, you lose badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second worst decision in all military history.
What was the first?
Probably poking Genghis Khan with the stick. That one guy who did.
Oh, right.
Basically broke the
right.
dam and allowed him to take over, most of the known
Right.
world at the time, including the Holy Land. So eventually,
Yeah, and that kind of turned out in a weird way too, and I have tried to rectify it a few times.
oh, and CK2, yeah,
I've almost been in the mood, but nah.
you should attack from the east. Yeah,
Me?
yeah.
No, it's my version of Irish voodoo is what I want to take over. Is what I want to take over is what I want to take over the country with the continent. Yeah, that's
I could fire up a game of that.
Well, I mean, I'm still playing. When I have time, I play Skylines 2.
How is Skylines? I need to start doing that this week.
I'm still having fun with it. I mean, my problem is the there are still some performance issues, although they've gotten better. And it will still, occasionally crash. But it's less frequent. It still is goddamn like it'll make your shit run hot.
Oh, really?
Because it's just so much going on. I mean, it's I get that it's calculating a lot of stuff, and they've tried to alleviate that, but yeah, it does take a pounding. There's still some optimizing to do. I think there's just some fucking leaks in there or something, but the core gameplay I've got down. I understand the mechanics a lot better, so now it's a lot of just how do I want to do things.
Oh, okay.
And fortunately, this is the thing that I do like is because the map size is huge, and they just added 2 more new maps too.
Oh, I'll have to go check those out because I was not too happy with some of the maps.
No, some of them suck. I mean,
Dude, the elevation changes on some was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, why did you build a city here? It's like,
Right, yeah.
it's like they're just giving out permits, huh? I guess we got it on discount. But so the thing that I do like about it is you end up coming back to the same city a lot because of the sheer size of things, right? So it feels better to make these longer investments, and you think carefully, you tear things up, you rip things out, so it's I think that's the gameplay loop is
Okay.
not the experimental part, but once you get to a point where I'm now connected to this city, right?
It's mine.
I'm gonna keep popping in on it instead of I'm gonna try to start a new one.
I got it, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't get that started, man.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
yeah.
understand. And there are still some picadillos that I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? And again, there's the other thing is I still have some issues with why did you take this out? This seems like something you want to put back in. Some of the very individual controls certain areas, but you know, all in all, like it's still it is what it is. It's still like a fun thing. It's still it's still the like we talked about when you're resorting your brain, when you're defragging it, you play it, and it feels good to be playing this. But it's gonna be, I'm gonna move on soon.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna move on to something a little bit more. How do I say this? Conclusive.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
got an end.
something.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to play something with a story that I get in, I get out, and it's done.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I kind of enjoyed that with Starfield.
Yeah.
Starfield's kind of soured on me just a little bit. Just after going back and playing Cyberpunk, which is a game that's 3 years old, 4 years older, and it's just better.
Right.
Yeah, like all around.
Right.
Yeah. So and then so you go to Starfield and you go to a place like Neon. It's just like this is a really weak loser attempt at what that other game did. So
Yeah, it's sort of the more the more that I think about it, it's like their program came with like 6 sets of like pre-made textures.
Kind of.
Yeah, and so when you get there, it's like, all right, so now I'm in this city, and all right, I'm gonna go ahead and it's like when you're building those North American versus European models in fucking cities. It's like, all right, well, let's build a dilapidated area versus so it comes with like super future and dilapidated future.
Right.
So
Yeah.
take this city and take the same architecture, because Neon, what is it? It's basically a hallway. It's basically
it's a drilling rig with a hallway on it.
It is, yeah, because the major point of this is, or the major plaza, if you will, is it's a straight row with shops on the left and shops on the right.
Yep.
And then once you get to the end, there's like warehouses and, like you said, like the drilling rigs.
Yep.
There's like a convenience store with an angry black woman in it. I don't remember what her problem was.
I remember her. Yeah.
She's just mouthing off to me. I was like, I didn't do anything.
She lives down in the ghetto, so where the sharks are, hanging from the ceiling and stuff.
Yeah,
look, man, it could have been really cool, but it wasn't like Aquila City is way better. So just in terms of like a setting. So
the Old West City.
The Old West City is great.
100 times
100
over.
times
Yeah. Which is almost what I think the aesthetic of the game should have been.
Maybe, I mean, either that or they should have fleshed out the major city a little bit better because it's tiny. Because there are places in that game that I really like to go. Like Mars is a dump, but I like it there. Okay, it feels like, okay, we had to spit this, duct tape and fucking rebar this thing together.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, it's sort of like Earth when you...
Yeah, it kind of. So, like, after doing all the Earth shit, I didn't like any of it because it was like, why is the Empire State Building the only building here? It was like, this is dumb. Okay, now I can get it if we're doing the pyramids, and so I went to the pyramids, and it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. All right. So, but like Big Ben, it's like, really?
It came with the software. Yeah. Well, no, the I did like. So, I mean, the concept behind it, were like, it was. If I remember the science of it, it was like they said that whatever thing happened here,
right,
and that's what fucked up the planet.
Right,
like,
but it also allows you to build a grav drive and all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but like 2 seconds of thinking about that, it was like, wait a minute, I've been on planets with way lower gravity, way worse temperatures than this one. Okay, and I mean, I just like the second planet you visit is one that's worse than this planet, and you just built everything underground. It's like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. So
I get it. But at least it was at least an attempt at sort of a unique vision.
It was.
Right?
It was.
And frankly, okay. So in the game, I don't remember if this was optional. I feel like it wasn't. I think it was necessary. Right, where there's that component of the game where basically you go into their version of the Upside Down, and you have to traverse where.
Oh yeah.
There's a part of that where that mechanic works because it's like, all right,
neat.
Yeah, and like more of that in the game would have been a lot more. It's like you have a whole universe to play with, right? And there needs to be more of this. There needs to be more. If you have the open sandbox to do this, don't make it just like go to this useless planet. there's some raiders on it. There's some pirates here. Why don't you go ahead and shoot the pirates?
No, there's a lot of useless shit. I mean, I don't know, man. As soon as you figure out what the primary story is and what's actually driving it and who the Starborn actually are, the game becomes really interesting very quickly. But then they don't do anything with it.
Correct.
It's like, oh man, I should have done this 19 hours ago.
Yes.
And then basically I have my own save scum system in real life now. It's like, all right, so if there's infinite universes out there, and this guy's traveled all over the fucking place, he knows everybody in the universe,
right?
Because he had adventures with all of them. It's like that's kind of a cool story,
right?
So why can't I play his story? So kind of thing, or at least be a guy like that. And then they do it with the NG Plus, which is dumb. So I mean, I get it. Okay, it's fine. But as soon as they took all my shit, I was like, I'm gonna go back and reload the other side.
Or you can keep it
because I don't want to do this all over again.
Yeah, it's kind of wacky. Where if that's your mechanic, right? Then what you need to do is you need to push me that direction.
Yes.
Instead of me thinking that this is like every other thing, where it's like, all right, I have to do everything that I need to do before I get to this. Are you sure you want to go ahead? Because this is the last time you can save, right?
Right? You get that. Yeah, you get that Red Dead moment in there.
Yeah. And so if that was your mechanic, right, then don't burn me out on the game because now I'm wandering around doing stupid shit because I'm like, all right, well, the game's going to end here, so, right?
Oh, yeah, so let me just see what everything is out there and stuff.
And then you find out it's a lot of fucking nothing, and then
it's the same thing with different animals on it. And a lot of times, they're 9 times out of 10, they're the same fucking animals after a little while. It's like, I saw a really good article, and I don't really like the guys at IGN or whatever, but this guy actually came up with something that was pretty fucking good. It was like, you probably should have had 20 planets. Right. So 20 planets that are actually really well fleshed out and really hard to find, so yeah. And it's like, yeah, I totally hear you. Cause there's this weird disconnect in the game. First of all, there's fucking junk everywhere, but there's no people anywhere. So, so you go to Neon, which is supposed to be this metropolis. And it's this place probably got a population of about 80.
Actual population,
people who actually live here, kind of thing. So it's like everybody knows each other. This is like a small town in Nebraska, man. So whereas Night City is just I can believe that several million people live here.
Well, it's not just several million. It's also they try to get the impression that these are big places.
They're not,
right?
Yeah.
But they're not. I'm not so stupid that I'm like, oh, well, by making this building vertical, you imply a lot of people live here. Well, I can go to 2 floors.
Exactly. I get on the elevator and it lets me go 2 fucking places. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't same thing with Neon. It's like, well, you guys have built this with all this verticality, right? But I can be in one place. I can be in this goddamn hallway.
There's 2 levels.
Yes.
There's 2 levels.
Yes.
And one of them's got a giant hole in it. So yeah, I know, man. It's just it's bad design. I mean, for all that's in that game, though, I mean, there's a lot of amazing shit in that game. I mean, I spent hours building ships in that game, just because it was fucking fun, and I wanted to go out and try it out, and I just rip other ships to pieces with my creations. That was fun.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
I even liked the exploration stuff until I realized there was nothing else to it. So I was like, this planet is neat. I found a planet that was purple. It was great. So I found one that was like that. And it's like, really? Every planet should be, okay, yeah, there's a lot of things that should look like the moon, all right? And there are a lot of things that look like the moon.
Right.
But then when I go to an inhabited planet, it's got the same fucking animals that I saw in the previous one.
Right.
Just harder versions or slightly different colored versions. I was like, nah, this ain't working, man. So I expected really weird shit, especially when you get way out, on the other edge of the map and you're fighting things. I mean, just basically going on safari.
Well, you're right. And I mean, that's one of those things that really stifles the imagination of it, where it tries to give you this weird sort of, and every goddamn, Bethesda game starts this way, where it's like, well, you're a regular guy working a regular schlub job, or something like that, where, some inciting incident is supposed to push you out into the world that is supposed to seem big, right? And you do hit that point very early, and it says like, look at the possibilities of this universe. Well, like you said, when you go to places and you see the same animals, are like, motherfucker, it's like on this planet, like different regions of the same country have animals that are incompatible to live in there by a couple of degrees. So you're like, so these fucking dinosaur things live here and here. And
I mean, after a while, I was like, oh, this is a cage brain planet. Great. So, yeah. It's like, and then, I mean, and I don't know, man. There was the amount of scale that they tried to bake into it without spending another, like, year or two on content was just kind of, it's not something that you see right away unless you're really experienced in some of these games. And to be fair, I haven't played that many Bethesda titles. So, you know.
Well, you've played enough. I mean,
I played enough, but Fallout 4 just tickled me in the right direction. So it really did. So,
you know, and for a lot of people, it was a step back for them. I mean, I still had fun with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I complain about the same things everybody complains about, is like your pretense of choice is pretty obvious.
It is.
It's almost embarrassing. But again, it's not. I mean, it wasn't something that I couldn't have fun with because I did. It's just that Starfield felt like it just took all the wrong lessons from Fallout. It put a splash of paint on it that said, I'm very interested in what you're doing here. But man, like, if you're going to talk about like procedurally generated stuff, like procedurally generated like animals and stuff, where it's like, all right, so
that'd be fucking sweet.
Where it's like, all right, well, so here are the conditions, right? Here are the conditions of this planet. It has this air, this air, this is. So, you know, it's going to say like, then it would be these kind of things, right? And so when you go there and you say like, shit, I had a totally different experience from you. I had a totally different experience.
That'd be neat,
right? If you're going with that kind of thing, but the only thing procedural about it is like, well, there's some junk out here, like. And again, this the half-baked stuff where you're like, half the stores in this stupid game,
they don't sell anything.
Have shit that I can't, like, why would I
junk.
do this? It was
it's
like
a junk shop. Yeah.
It's like, I don't need fucking potato chips. I'm like, why would you guys, like, why would you not cut this if you're not...
See, and that's what they did in Cyberpunk now. They scrubbed all that shit out of there. So, because you used to have the places you go to and you get like, wow, I can get a rat on a stick here. Cool. What am I going to do with this?
Can I still buy, like, the burritos from the vending machine? I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
That's a staple of mine.
And me too, as my breakfast, to get the big bite. You know? You know? So, and wash it down with some, like, offensive energy drink. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's...
Because capitalism, baby.
You're right. It's like, so I'm going to have the grilled stuffed XXL burrito from a machine and a can of, like, Purple Dick. And it's...
Purple Dick.
They all have weird names. Well, that was the thing. I was having a little bit of a moment where anytime, in that game, anytime I saw coffee, I drank it.
Yeah.
Even if it was, like, some dudes...
Right, you just wasted it. You wipe the blood off the lid. Yeah. It's like, this is a good kangaroo coffee, man.
I was like, no, my decision was this the second go around. It's like, I don't drink, but I'm a coffee addict.
Oh, yeah. You could kind of do that. Well, see, the funny thing is they added all these perks and bonuses to eating and drinking in that game.
Okay.
Just buffs.
Right.
You know, so it makes sense if a guy's got a fucking burrito, you munch it down. You know, on him. So it just does. But then, like, all this stuff, because you remember your pockets would just be full of junk in that game. They got rid of all of that. So,
okay,
yeah, you don't have to disassemble anything, nothing. So it's just components. So
okay,
people drop ammo and components and guns. So, and that's it. And sometimes a burrito.
Clothes or anything like that?
Clothes are 100% cosmetic. You can buy whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
So it doesn't affect any. So you're not running around in hot pink shorts because you get +6 to armor.
How do you do armor now?
Armor is all through cyberware. So so you upgrade your cyberware, you get more chrome, and so you become more bulletproof. So by doing that, it's fun. It's good. But it's like, and then playing that game after I was playing Starfield, because I didn't mind the gunplay in Starfield, it was fine. So, in fact, some of the Zero G stuff was fucking cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, but I mean, the variety and type of guns, and basically like there's only 4 types of guns in the game.
There are, and 2 of them are useless.
Again, yeah,
They're absolutely useless. Yeah, so I tried really hard to get the particle weapons because I was like, yeah, let me do like a peaceful. I'm just gonna knock people out, and then after a little while, I was like, this cannot be done. So yeah,
why am I wasting my time?
and the same thing,
Yeah,
any kind of stealth was like, this is a waste of my time. So whereas in Cyberpunk, stealth is fucking fun if you do it right. So
if you want to play that,
if you want to, you don't have
but
to.
That's
you don't have to.
It doesn't force you. It doesn't. Yeah, there's.
I should go
make a
back and play
decision.
The Witcher again. Come to think of it.
Well, The Witcher's a genius game. I mean, it's.
God dang, I never made it off Skellige in that game.
I thought you finished the game.
Well, I didn't do the this is like a whole after story in there. That's because the base game still keeps going. So after the Wild Hunt thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the end. I mean,
okay.
technically, but
Yeah, okay.
well, sort of. But I mean,
Right.
yeah.
But then there's like 2 like full length expansions behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I never played those either. So I wonder if they're cheap. They might be cheap.
It's probably cheap.
Probably cheap.
They're probably
That was a
cheap.
game where I was really good at the combat. I don't know what it was, but that game, the combat system clicked with me. So
Well, because you actually did the part that a lot of people don't, where it's like, well, the whole thing about this character is he's sort of like, I don't want to say like a detective, but he does have
right.
like a detective vision, but it's like there's like a bestiary, and the whole thing is like, well,
Oh, yeah.
all right, so you're supposed to put these oils on this and all this other stuff, and that's the thing. There are a lot of people who are like, oh, why isn't this like Dark Souls? I'm like, because Dark Souls sucks. Because like I'm not trying to fight with
I never
people on
played
this.
that.
I'm not trying to fight with people on this, and I'm going to say like this is not the kind of thing for me. But I do have a specific gripe on it. Is like, all right, so this combat system is awesome. This is the best. I'm like, well, all right. I get why you like it, but it does everything that I don't like when it comes to these kind of systems, where it's like, all right, so I don't mind playing a game where the appeal is you're going to die a lot of times. Like, okay, that's fine. But if I'm going to die a whole lot of times, then basically make it really easy for me to jump back into the fight. Instead of making me walk down this goddamn hallway, hit the button, skip the cutscene, and like, don't do that. And the other thing is, specifically, is like, when you're in these kind of games where, all right, you are supposed to be mindful of your attacks, right? It's like, be ready to come in here, take 1 swipe, 2 swipe, dodge, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay. Now, again, the problem I have with this is in games like this, typically when it's, very action, very combat oriented, okay, it all comes down to basically how well the game lets you attack cancel, right?
All right.
And the way that this game handles it, you do one of 2 things, right? You either put the opponent in a stun state or a stagger state, right? Or you basically make it cancel, attack cancel, free cancel.
Right.
His game has neither, right? So there are some times where you'll stagger something, but it's like, okay, you need to know that if you don't stagger the enemy, you've got to dodge, right?
Oh.
Or you have to be able to basically cancel that in a second when you see the attack coming.
Right.
Right? And it doesn't have either of those things, and that makes it so that, well, the only way I can know how to do this is to memorize and say, okay, well, it's going to be this long before this happens, so I can take 2 swipes, and so I'm just going to keep dying to this over and over again to learn. I'm like, that's not fun for me.
No, that's not fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Some people, it's like, that's cool. It's like, well, I can clear this guy, without getting touched. Yeah, because you've fought this thing 40 times.
Yeah, that was like fighting the dragons in Dragon Age, man. So
that's not when you're talking about like a great combat game, like, no, that sucks.
Yeah, that does
To
suck.
me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Well, and The Witcher was great at that. I mean, you just had to get your ass kicked by something like twice. First, like, oh, okay, I get what I'm supposed to do here. So, and you just go back in there, or you go play the game for a little bit because like, no, this guy's too hard. So,
Yeah.
I don't have the guns to be able to take this guy out right
It's
now.
up to you. It's up to you to decide like whether I'm going to keep swiping at this or not. But yeah, that's. I know that there's a whole cottage industry around this that worships the ground that those games walk on. We're like, this
Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Souls, Bloodborne, The
Bloodborne.
Shadows Die Twice, Elden Ring. It's like it's
Oh, Elden Ring. I was gonna play that. And then I
that's
heard it was really hard.
well,
Did you play it?
it's I returned it in 30
Oh,
minutes.
okay, yeah, that's right.
I was like, is this any different? I'm like, nope. It's the
Nope, I'm
same
good.
fucking game.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because yeah, it's just everything that I expect when it comes to that. Because yeah, there's three things on there. Is like either you have a stagger, you have a dodge, or you have a parry, right?
Mhm.
If things are working well, you have all these things, right? And you can figure it out in the course of the game how to do
Right.
this instead of. Yeah, well, okay. Well, I'm on fight 25 with this guy.
Woohoo!
Or
Yeah, here we go.
they're like, all right. Well, the other thing you can do is you can call in, other players to help you out. It's like, fuck that. I'm not going to ask anybody for help on this. This is stupid.
I hate that.
It's like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
It's
I don't like that either.
I mean, I get why people do it, and they're like, all right, so it helps them get through the experience. But I'm like, but if I didn't figure this out, if I didn't play it myself, then I have no business doing this.
Right.
I don't know. I get kind of grumpy about that kind of shit. But yeah, if you like it, again, I'm preaching pretty hard here. Where it's like there are millions of people that like this shit. You know what? That's cool.
That's
It's the same thing. Like that was the other game that they aped that same style on. It was Jedi Survivor.
Oh, right.
Which was Dark Souls with Jedi's, and I'm like, all right, well, let me try this. I'm like, well, okay, it's the same bullshit combat, no stagger and terrible dodge, so it's like better just get used to dying. And the map was goddamn unreadable to me. I'm like,
really?
why can't I parse this? And I'm not even gonna pretend. I'm bad with maps just in general.
Right.
I'm not I know that's like a speciality of yours. Like if I rolled Pat the role playing character, I'd give you like a 17 in cartography.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're good with it, but I know there's parts of it for me where I'm like, north, huh? Well, west has to be that way.
Right.
But when I'm in other places around the globe,
Yeah.
west might be different because there's no mountains there.
Right. I don't know where that is. Yeah.
So yeah, I know I kind of suck with that, but they had this sophisticated looking overhead rotating, map thing. I'm like, I hate this. I hate it so much. Yeah, man. So, but yeah, to me, like The Witcher, I had absolutely fine combat. I know that there were some people who slagged it off. I'm like, nah, this is fine. This is
Combat in that game is just fun.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few standout games over the years in terms of just like kind of just getting me just right for like complicated enough where it's interesting, but not so ridiculously hard that, or, convoluted or so samey, meaning,
Yes. Yes.
okay, there's only one way to do this right, and so, oh, you didn't figure it out fast enough, Pat, you're a retard, kind of thing. It's like, well, I wanted to try and use the pistol, so, because I thought it would be cool for my character, but
Sure.
whatever.
Sure.
Apparently shotguns it is. So,
Yeah, there's that. There's that. And I mean, I did there are games out there that just they don't require that of you, right? And it's like it's over and done with. Like when I played Resident Evil 8,
Mhm.
right? I played it through.
Yeah.
It was done. And I was like, and this was fun. I'm like, all right, well, this was a good time.
Yeah. All right.
I shot some things. I saw some weird stuff. I've played all of these games, all of them. It's been sort of I don't know, like an obligation to my culture.
Oh, what, Resident Evil?
Yeah. We like played the first one, and all my friends and I we'd always like play those games together.
Yeah.
So even still, it's like I have to continue that tradition, regardless of whether I want to. It's like, all right. But again, I've had fun with all of them.
I think everybody that I know played that game with a buddy. So the first time around. So yeah. It's like, okay, you play for a bit, then I'll play for a bit, and I'll watch you, kind of thing. Like the second one where all your bad guys morphed into like something completely different. was like, all right, I get this one, you know, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, you fucker, you didn't leave me any ammo. You know? The Uzi's down to 6%. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's how guns work.
In some ways, you know what? I find that very realistic in terms of like, well, you really only have this many bullets left,
You can
I've
denominate
never
it
thought
that
about
way.
it as a percentage.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that's totally fine.
that's fine.
I mean, it's the same. Like, it's the same set pieces where I can tell you, like, well, you have to knock down the oxygen tank.
Oh my god, we tried that one so many times. It's like, why do we keep getting eaten by the alligator? You know? And then just like, oh, you can interact with this, and as soon as you pull it off the wall, you're like, oh, god damn it.
And then you're like, oh, this is Jaws.
This Jaws.
Yeah, it's Jaws.
Jaws.
But I know you came back.
Is that
to
the
end
first one or the second one? That was the second one.
with the
With the
tank.
alligator.
Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah.
alligator one. Yeah, and I remember that same point because it's the same frustration of like, I unloaded so much ammunition to that
Everything.
fucking
all the
alligator,
things, yes.
and you can kill it with one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the pistol.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Not even the deagle, just the pistol
Yeah.
that you start with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
And of course, there's this thing where you say like, well, this is a tradition now, where you have that suitcase and you have to move these things around to get the most stuff in there.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I remember I in the fourth game, where that's a bigger component. I remember playing this, and that game, for all the praise it gets, there's so much stupid shit in there, and I was fucking around with the goddamn suitcase, and I remember one of my friends asked me, it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing fucking Lee Trevino's Inventory Manager 2005. And there's a component of like, why am I still doing, why does this have to be a part of every fucking game? Like, with all the bizarre, like, random stupid shit that's going on that you've asked me to buy, right? Why are you insisting that now it's every single time I gotta organize this suitcase?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, well, nobody was more guilty of that than Diablo, man. So, I mean, it was like, all right, so I got to organize myself, and so I'm hanging on to all these Shea runes and stuff like that because they only take up one square. And then you fill up
Right.
the box, and then you put the box inside a box. So, yeah.
What was it? It was called. There was the
The transmogrifier.
yeah, that's what we called it. But what was the name of the cube? It was
It's like Hadrian's Cube or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, the transmogrifier. So,
yeah. It's and here's the thing. I understand that is part of the appeal of the game. Right?
sure.
There's a component that makes me ask, like, can we do away with this? Is it something that this vestige? It's like having 4 appendixes in one body,
Right.
and you're like, okay, can we? Is there any way that we can do away with this, or keep the idea of this, but not in such a intrusive way? But I think there's a lot of people that in particular was the game. Like they like that part of the game.
Well, and there's like Red Dead and GTA both like, no, you don't have a fucking inventory. So pick
you have a wheel of
you do, okay, but I mean, you pick your gun, okay, you know. So like Red Dead was very good about this because you could carry 2 guns. So I mean, you're like, okay, I'll make this one work, you know, kind of thing. You can stuff another one on your horse if you wanted to. But then if you wanted to use that, you had to actually go to your fucking horse and pull it out. Yeah. So, you know, so
yeah, GTA made no bones about it. It's just like, yes, you have a rocket launcher. Yes,
you have a rocket. Like you have a minigun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You just wheel
that's
over
true.
to it. I did think it was funny. Yeah, I was watching these videos. One of the like a bunch of VTubers came to Los Angeles, right? One of them is famous for playing the shit out of GTA, and she was just thrilled. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm in the actual Los Santos." And she was like, she wanted to ask the taxi driver, it's like, take me to Michael's house.
Just take me to Michael's house.
She's like, it's all the same. It's exactly the layout of this is amazing. She's like, now they went to like all of the big parks, but she's like, I'm just upset that I didn't go to the amusement park. She's like, because I understand.
Yeah, that Santa Monica Pier. Yeah.
And she's like, I will come back to America and go there. But it's like, this is most. I've been here. I've been everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's. I hope that sense of stupidity is still in the new game. That is my.
So I watched the trailers again, because there's multiple cuts of them out now.
Oh, are there?
So, yeah,
I just saw the one.
Well, there's the one long one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks pretty much the same. It's just shorter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There's not any new footage and stuff, but it's like the idea of driving around in a fucking a fan boat in Redneckistan. So
you think
the
that's
swamps?
Okay.
I was like, we're just like going to that convenience store and shit. I was like, I've been there, man. It was like I'm down with this game, man. Now I doubt it'll be as goofy as the last one, and it won't be near as edgy. So we won't have Lamar reminding us of the things that Lamar would remind us of. So yeah, but hopefully it's still pretty good, man. I don't know. Like my understanding is still like a year off. So fuck it.
Yeah.
I was gonna look and see if there was another Dragon Age coming up because I remember reading it's 2 years ago.
Supposedly still being worked on.
It's out there somewhere, but they lost a bunch of their writers.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. So depends on which one's left.
It depends on there was a transfer on those games basically, like, so everybody that came over from the old BioWare from the old stuff into Knights of the Old Republic into Mass Effect and that kind of stuff. Like there was a crowd of those guys that came over, and a lot of them are gone now. But I mean, that's also part of that is the fact that shit's 20 plus years old.
Yeah, a lot of people are aging out. I've noticed that.
Like that's it's something, man. I don't know. This is a weird thing sometimes where sometimes I get it in my head. I've joked about this. It's like, well, as far as I'm concerned, I just graduated high school last week. But I mean, I also sometimes get it in a head that like, wow, people age.
They do.
Right. And sometimes I forget it. Sometimes I'm like, what do you mean you're quitting? You just started this company. Like, I'm 66.
It's like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. So it seemed like Sid Meier, you're as old as my mom? Fuck.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Because when I think about like the guys that aged out of games, I'm thinking of the dudes from LucasArts. I'm thinking of the dudes from the old Nintendo and stuff like this.
Microprose and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not them. It's the second and third generations of those
Diablo guys are like fucking aging out now, man.
Right.
I know, man.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a little bit different than expected. So, but and then on top of it, I mean, there's entire genres out there that I don't even know fucking anything about. I remember when, like, I was pretty much guaranteed to play just about every major game that dropped in like a year and a half. So yeah. And then
at least the ones that called out to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And well, I'd be familiar with everyone within the genre that I like to play. So yeah, there was like a few years there I did not miss a flight sim. So, I got disqualified from playing Falcon 4.0.
You couldn't cert?
I couldn't cert, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, but there was a while there I played them all. And then same thing with like war games. There was probably a good decade there where if there was a decent war game that came out, especially from like 3 or 4 different studios, I played it. So
yeah, you played the like at that time. You didn't just play the good ones. You played a bunch of the bad ones too.
I played a bunch of shitty games, man.
Yeah.
In fact, I spent a lot of money on a lot of shitty games. So thank you, PC Gamer fuckers.
Fucking shills.
Fucking shills. 4.5 stars. My ass. Yeah.
Just Just say this is this. Just say this is a paid review.
It was
just,
a paid review.
All you have to do is just say that. Yeah.
Please say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now, like, I mean, you see, like, I'll see streamers out there. I was like, what the fuck game is this? And how did I not know about this?
Oh, that's
so.
I know.
It's
I know.
like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I watch this shit, and here's like, there was one today. There's like this PT boat game that looks hilariously fun. And I was like, what the fuck? How did I not know about this? So,
but that's the question.
Yeah.
Where would you come across
Yeah,
it? This is
exactly.
like traditional. You remember? I remember it was wacky back in the day. To actually, it wasn't. It's not as though it never happened, but it happened so infrequently that I can remember the old video game commercials when they came on, right? And the things that would actually generate hype. Because I mean,
I remember a
this was
commercial for colonization
on TV.
Yeah, go check it out. It's got to be on YouTube somewhere.
Shit.
Oh, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Conquer the New World. And it's got the guys with the silver Spanish.
You're
helmets.
kidding me, really?
No, dead serious.
Oh
yeah.
wow. Okay. Well, yeah. So that's the thing is like, where would I come across? Number one, advertisements. Number two, advertisements where I would actually like look at it instead of, your brain like going from like alpha patterns to like theta patterns because there's an ad coming on. So it's like, all right, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift into another dimension until this is over.
Right, yeah.
Because,
yeah.
like I'm not. It's just you phase it out. Yeah, it's weird because we see these things. The other thing that's tough for me now, right, is I will see people playing games, and I will see them doing things like, wow, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
I would not want to put in the time to enjoy this the way they're enjoying it. Like I was watching like a couple of somebodies play a game called Pizza Tower. You know Pizza Tower? Pizza Tower is just, to me, it's like a triumph of animation. I'm like, I love this.
Oh, okay.
It's so stupid, but it's like everything in this is just like wacky and enjoyable. But it's one of those you're gonna fail a lot kind of games.
Right.
And I also know at this point in my mind, right, I get more and more upset with this stuff. Like not to the point where it's like I'm gonna put this controller through a wall. It's just I don't have the time to die a million times.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I'm gonna watch you play this one. But man, I wish I were younger so I could put in the time to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same, like, if you've seen people play, like, fucking Jump King, or the game I bought and I could only take about 20 minutes of. Are you familiar with Getting Over It? If you've seen people playing the game where there's a guy and he has, like, a rock hammer, but his bottom half of his body is in this, like, kettle, right? And the whole thing...
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's a two-dimensional
I've seen
game,
that,
right?
yeah.
And the whole thing is you're going to keep falling and you got to keep climbing up. Like, I got, like, 20 minutes into this.
Oh, yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
And I love watching people play this.
Right. Well, you just want to see them fall. Yeah.
Well, I want to see them succeed. I do. It's just like, I don't want to go through the agony of, like,
No.
fucking, I did this for 20. It pissed me the
Yeah.
fuck
Oh,
off. And then,
I've played games like I could never get in a Portal because it was like that for me.
Really?
Yeah. It was just there was something about it.
it just didn't click or
If like there were a couple places early in the game where you could get set back, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm not doing this all over again," kind of thing. Yeah. And so yeah, that one got me, even though my brother was like so into it. He's like, "It's the coolest
this
thing
is the greatest
ever."
game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna go play Halo instead, so, but whatever. Yeah, the puzzle solving in that game, I was like, I have to, wait a minute, fuck, I have to redo, because I'm in the wrong spot. Now you gotta be kidding me. So, yeah, that happened a few times. So, and I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'm done. But I've seen that one with the falling. I've seen people get absolutely furious on streams.
But there are people that just keep at it. Like, it doesn't bother them. And maybe when I was younger, okay, maybe I could have enjoyed it. But there's just something where you're like, I gotta grade papers. Like, there's there's so much stuff that I should be doing right now, but I put fucking 8 hours into this game. Like, I can't do it.
I can't do this anymore.
It's like, I totally respect, because goddamn, like, the guy that made that, okay?
Yeah.
This is the same. what is his lineage? Okay, well, I played a game from him on my browser. It was called Too Many Ninjas. Great little game. Okay, you're gonna, there's only like 4 directions. You block it. Okay, it's very simple, right? This guy is also famous for. You remember a little running game called Quap? You press the letters Q, W, O, and P. It's a web-based game. There's a guy who's at the track meet, and each of these 4 buttons controls.
Oh, arms and legs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This guy made that game.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Okay. I think we played it at Will's house during during the giraffe. But
it's only his
so,